If you're not bothered about the standard AAA blockbuster release circuit for games, listen up. 2024 is shaping up to be a big one for both indie and AA titles. We've got some top quality roguelikes, strategy games, Metroidvanias, open world survival crafts, ARPGs and so much more on the horizon. Want to hear about them? Yeah, I thought so. Now, I won't be going too in-depth on any one game. I'll give an overview and then move on. If you want to hear more about this or that, let me know in the comments and I can make a follow-up video putting that title in the spotlight. So let's have a look at what we've got to mark on our calendars over the next 12 months. And we'll start with probably the most anticipated one on this list. Supergiant Games are back at it again with a follow-up to the absolutely monumental Hades. This time, Zagman is taking a step back and giving centre stage to his half-sister Millenia. While he was all about brute force and determination, she's a bit more tactful, employing magic, witchcraft and cunning. Guided by her teacher Hecate, Millenia will be doing a reverse Zagreus and battling her way into the underworld to stop the dastardly father-abducting, child-eating titan Kronos. There'll be a new cast of Olympians and other mythic sorts to carry favour with, and more than likely a few familiar faces from the first game. Honestly, I don't have to try to be diplomatic here, this will be good. Supergiant have yet to make a bad game. They've already got the formula and building blocks locked in. Expect this to make as many, if not more waves, than the original. Supergiant are the only iconic dev coming out with a new game this year though. Dead Cell's creator Motion Twin are back, and at it again with a whole new IP, WindBlown. We haven't seen much aside from a very stylish and violent animated trailer with the teeniest snippets of gameplay. But again, I'm banking on this to be a slam dunk. They've stated that the game will be an absurdly quick action roguelike that requires players to learn movesets, master split-second timing, and adapt to tough situations. And the best part? It's co-op. I mean, you can play it solo if that's more your cup of tea, but there's the option there to bring a few friends along for some breakneck carnage. I can't wait. There's honestly just not enough solid multiplayer roguelikes. I'm sure I'm not alone in wanting to get stuck into this when it comes out in early access. Okay, I want to talk about Hollow Knight Silksong. And no, before you get excited, I don't know the release date. But come on now, isn't it about time? For those out of the loop, Silksong was originally announced as a 2019 DLC to Team Cherry's superb Metroidvania, Hollow Knight. Before long, it evolved and transformed into its own fully fledged game. Franchise fans were eagerly watching any and all game showcases to hear more about the game, but they were just met with radio silence. It was at one point scheduled for an early 2023 release, but that got pushed back. Now, 2024 does seem realistic to me, so I'm crossing my fingers that we'll get a release date announcement soon. If this can live up to the hype and surpass the original, it will be huge. But I am wary that it's going to struggle to live up to 5 years of expectation and waiting. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully not till next year though. If you like your games a bit more on the unhinged side, you should absolutely be keeping one or both eyes on Streets of Rogue 2. The original was a cult hit, but let's assume you haven't got an idea what this is. The president is corrupt, so you should probably stop him. How and when you do is up to you, and that's whether you even do it at all. That's your call. Want to just ignore it and build a little farm somewhere? Go right ahead. Maybe you want to take advantage of the situation and go on your own little rampage with your personal army. Hey, you do you. Streets of Rogue 2 is a living sandbox. You've got a general goal somewhere in the distance, but nothing's pushing you towards it. How you play the game is up to you, in this bizarre immersive sim/roguelike mashup. If you've heard about, or even like the idea of the original, I'd say hold on, because the sequel is going to be bigger, better, bolder, and even more bonkers. I want to talk about what could well be the biggest glow-up I've seen in recent years. Helldivers, the chaotically Moorish top-down shooter, is going from this to this. They're almost incomparable. And as I'm sure you've noticed, it's no longer top-down. It's morphed into a frenetic, action-fueled third-person shooter. It reminds me of Risk of Rain going from 2D to 3D. It's just such a bold move, but I've got to commend it. The game itself looks to increase all those threats from the original. You're stuck on a planet where everything, and I mean everything, wants you dead, even your teammates at times. Friendly fire is a very real thing. If this can capture the chaos and intensity of the original, whilst also looking like this, it'll be an absolute blast to play. Going from one inhospitable hellhole to another, let's talk about Frostpunk 2, 11-bit Studios' follow-up to their depressing yet riveting 2018 city builder. The premise of the original was to build and maintain a coal-powered settlement in a world of unending winter. Fast forward to the sequel, and good news! You managed it! Hooray! But now, your people are past the point of surviving, and they want to live. This time around, you'll be gearing your settlements around providing better lives for your population, balancing social issues, and giving hope to the hopeless. It sounds inspiring, but it's still probably going to be a bleak dystopia with child labourers and poor sods left to die in the mines. Though now, you'll finally be held accountable. Yep, your people can and probably will rise up against you and burn all your hard work to the ground. Doesn't that sound fun? And here's something else that plays similar, looks similar, and even has a similar name. It's Kaiserpunk. It's set in an alternative timeline where World War I just, well, didn't end. The world is locked in endless conflicts, and obviously you've been dragged into it. You'll build your settlement, care for your people, evolve and advance, all that sort of thing. But you'll also be getting stuck into the theatre of war and engaging in battle on a continental scale. This is a great concept, and a nice twist to liven things up from just another city builder. Frostpunk takes the formula and adds hypothermia, misery and social unrest. Kaiserpunk adds a whole stonking grand strategy angle. Well, pick your poison, I suppose. While we're talking about violence, I've got a question. What happens if you give a Pokemon a gun? That's something many people have asked, apparently. And Pocket Pair are looking to answer that with Palworld, which is literally Pokemon with guns. I mean, it's not. It's an open world survival crafting game. But the Pokemon do have guns. Honestly, I'm not really sure how and why Nintendo hasn't come down on this like a ton of bricks yet. They may still do. But until that happens, we can all be happy knowing that something this brilliantly ludicrous exists. I'll tone down the insanity just a smidge and talk about another survival game. Under a Rock. Doesn't it just look lovely? Gives me real grounded vibes. It's colourful, charismatic, and has some great systems under the hood. You wash up on an island where evolution took a different path and uncover the secrets of this strange land. And of course, build yourself a sweet house while you're at it. The world is randomly generated, meaning 2 maps will never be the same. And also, it's multiplayer. You can host a match for you and 9 of your friends if you've got that many, and enjoy or exploit the world together. Okay, one last survival game and then I'll move on. But this is the big one, Nightingale. I've been following this for a while and it looks pretty staggering, to be honest. Obviously, graphically and visually it looks great, you can't deny that, but that's not really the selling point. It's got some out-of-the-box systems that shake up the general approach to the genre altogether. It's set in this alternative Victorian steampunk timeline, which they're dubbing gas lamp punk. All around are these portals. If you step through one, you're transported to a new world. Different resources, new enemies, a whole host of weird and wonderful things to find. You can tamper with these portals to alter the outcome of where you go. And rather than just exploring outwards, you'll hop between new worlds and chart a course through space-time. At points, you'll build settlements, put the locals to work, and slowly build up your own little interdimensional empire. It sounds great to me, and I'm eager to see how it shapes up during its early access period. But as one game enters the early access door, another leaves. This is Last Epoch, and all you fans of Diablo, Path of Exile, Torchlight, and Grim Dawn, take note. This is a game to watch. It's been around for a while, and now it's finally hitting 1.0. It's a long time coming, but the game has transformed into something really quite excellent over the last few years. Customization is king, and this does things a bit differently to other ARPGs. Every ability comes with its own skill tree, which lets you tinker and tailor your character as your heart desires. It's got a story about time travel, unique dungeons to delve into, and multiplayer features that let you romp around the world with a band of friends. If you were left wanting after Diablo 4's disappointment, I'd say give this a shot. Another game that I'm not sure will drop this year, but quietly holding out hopes for, is Stormgate. The RTS genre has been MIA in the past few years, but Stormgate looks like it could cause an explosive comeback. Its creators, Frostgiant, are composed of industry veterans who've had hands in all the iconic RTS games you remember so fondly. It's got pedigree behind it, but it also has so much character. Visually it looks excellent, and given the developers, it's sure to have tight, well thought out mechanics that are make or break for these type of games. It's also going to be free to play, removing all the barriers for entry for potential new players. I want this to succeed. It would just be so nice to see a resurgence of this genre. It's also got Simu Liu from Shang-Chi voicing a character. I don't know if that's a selling point for you, but maybe?
Either way, your world will fall.
Alright, let's talk about The Sims. Yes, I know, this doesn't fit into this list at all, but this does. For those of you that like the idea of The Sims, but don't want to sell a kidney to pay for those expansions, you should check out ParaLives. It's an indie title that started off as a solo project, and has grown into something with a ton of appealing character. It's not the aim for this to have a never-ending tirade of DLC, but to keep it as a contained, polished and respectable alternative to EA's offering. I think it shows a lot of promise. It's got great customization options, it's warm and inviting, and it's just plain stylish. It's taken a hell of a long time for us to get a proper alternative to The Sims, but very soon we will have one. And it isn't the only option. There's also Life by You from Paradox. Now this is intriguing, because it's giving power back to the players. It's designed from the ground up to be malleable. You can alter dialogue choices, create new jobs, design custom businesses. There's so many ways to get under the hood in this game, but there's even more options if you're really willing to dive in. It's fully moddable. So if there's something you don't like about it, change it. You want to add something new? Go ahead. The world is your oyster. You don't need to wait for EA to come along and charge you an arm and a leg to put the weather in or whatever. Just go and grab a mod from the workshop. Although, it is Paradox, so almost certainly there will be a ton of DLC released over this game's lifetime. But they couldn't possibly out-EA, could they? While I'm talking about Paradox, I also want to mention this, Millenia. Now, I don't think this is going to be released in 2024, but it's worth talking about on the slightest chance that it might. It's basically their answer to Civilization, and I am all for it. If you like conquering the world and shaping the future of humankind, then get this on your radar. Up next is Manor Lords, a game which gives you all the frills and spills of medieval life. Fire, war, freezing cold, cows! All these and more could be yours as you embark on a quest to build a quaint and comfortable life for you and your people, and then delete your enemies' quaint and comfortable lives with raw brute force. As was the norm for peasants back in the day, the changing seasons bring great challenges, and preparation is key. This should be made slightly easier by the fact that the AI seems pretty darn smart. Towns will evolve organically. You can form districts as specialised areas of your town. Residents will grow fruit and veg in their homes, even on their own downtime, meaning that even when they aren't performing back-breaking manual labour, they're still boosting your economy. Telltale Games are dropping the sequel to The Wolf Among Us in 2024, having made a comeback last year to basically no fanfare whatsoever. This is set 6 months after the original, and there's another grisly case for Sheriff Bigby to crack. The cryptic mystery is threatening the fairy tale world, as well as life for boring old human beings like us. But old Bigby is a smart cookie, and I'm sure he, and by that I mean you, will solve the case. Since the original, Telltale have been on a bit of a roller coaster, as in they've literally died and come back from the dead. I do have some worries going into this, but if they can at least achieve 70% of what the first game did, it's definitely still worth your time. Let's wrap this up with something completely different. Skate Story. A game about psychedelic beats, slaying demons, and skateboarding? Yeah, I'm confused by this too. It's ludicrous, and that's why I think it's brilliant. It doesn't make any sense, and that makes me need to play it. I mean, the concept of skating through the 9 layers of the underworld as some kind of glitch blob is enough of a selling point for me, as is the promise of having a giant talking frog as a companion. But the fact that this alludes to a final confrontation where you'll have to skate off versus the devil, now, who doesn't want to see that? Look, I'm a simple man. I like weird games, and this is shaping up to be one of the weirdest offerings of 2024. I am definitely signing up for this right away. And that's your lot, all sorts to look forward to in 2024. And if you want even more, go ahead and click the link to take a look at some of the biggest AAA games coming out this year. I've had to skip over a lot of exciting titles because there's just far too much to talk about. So please share what I've missed in the comments down below and give me a selling point as to why I should play it. And do you want to hear more on any of the games we've covered here? Let me know and I'll make up a follow-up video for those titles. And now, all we have to do is wait. Is Hades 2 out yet? No? Oh, okay. I guess I'll just go wait over there then.